Good afternoon and welcome to the Go Zero Happy Hour. It is Friday, it is that time of the week, and we've got some excellent people in the room, in the Zoom room today. First and foremost, David Wells, who is the CEO of Go Zero, Andy Taylor, who is the COO of Go Zero, and our special guest today, Rob Labinski, the big Labinski from Octopus Energy. How are you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you. Thanks very much for inviting me on.
Great to have you. So today we're going to be focusing on basically a few of the things that Octopus can do for you, notably what is electric juice and how it can save you loads of hassle when charging, the salary sacrifice scheme, which I think is amazing, which is awesome if you need to get into an electric car and want a bit of help from the government, and also getting paid to use electricity, which I'm sure everyone would like to know a bit more about. But first and foremost, before we go into that, David and Andy, highlights of the week for you, please, as we normally do at this time of the week.
Well, highlight for me. Well, last week the highlight for me was Andy falling off his scooter, racing around. It was quite funny. He didn't hurt himself, but it was quite funny. And the other highlight this week's really been, people are starting to travel again. So some news coming out about air bridges between the UK and European countries. I'm hoping that people can get away on their summer holidays. I'm certainly looking forward to getting away on ours.
Andy?
I think this week, actually, it's probably Vestal, actually. So we're working with Vestal, and it was we spent a bit of time in there filming the charger and having a chat with their development officer. And, we're forging that relationship quite nicely moving forward. I think it's going to be a great opportunity. They've got a huge R&D budget. They've got some great experience, and I think, partnering with Go Zero and our brand is going to be really great, a great journey.
Definitely, yeah. And Karen hopefully is going to be joining us in the Zoom room soon, and she's got a lot of knowledge. We need to speak to her as well. She's amazing. You guys will talk for hours. Rob, your highlight of the week for you?
I think in general, maybe the fact that we're all going to get green number plates is really exciting. But this week, I had the privilege of interviewing Martin Chariots of Fire, and that was a real experience because I'm a bit of a rugby geek, and he's a legend among the rugby world.
That's very true, yeah. And the green number plates, for those that don't know, basically, if you've got an electric car, it means that you're going to be able to drive in the bus lanes in London, which...
good.
That's what we want, actually. Traffic. Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's really exciting about it is not only, but it's going to separate now. It will start to make it easier for ANPR to recognise EVs. So you're going to be, it'll be easier for you to register and not be charged for ultra low emission zones, congestion charges. You'll get parking for free in areas where ANPR is in place, and some really cool stuff following.
It's great that they're starting to put some good incentives inside to sort of bring on that transition to EV vehicles.
I mean, what more incentive than do you need then? Saving 90% of your fuel costs and driving a beautiful vehicle. But I suppose there are still some barriers that we need to get over.
That's true. Totally.
I certainly think from just the experience of lockdown and the clean air that we all see in our towns and cities, that's got to be a driver for us to switch all of our vehicles to electric and have them powered sustainably. That's the key, through renewables.
Absolutely. And this whole COVID situation, I think it's been repeated this week over and over again, is really started to spark people's imagination. What could a cleaner future look like? How do we recover in a much more green way? And I'm really excited just to see what the next 12, 18 months brings, because I think people will just, you talk about switching all the vehicles to electric vehicles, but I think more people will work from home. It's less likely that you'll need a vehicle in the future. Maybe people reduce the number of the cars they have per household, and then take advantage of all that amazing last mile stuff that's in your journey and in what you guys are reaching to do as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Rob, I know we talked a bit about this yesterday, but we've chatted a lot in the past. Give us a little bit of information, a bit of background on Octopus Energy and what you do for them and how they are saving us lots of money and saving the planet.
Oh, okay. Well, so Octopus Energy, which now Octopus Energy Group, is about 6 different businesses. And we started off 4 years ago as a small challenger energy supplier, and it was fundamentally we were going to build a new tech platform that did 2 things. One, which made green energy easier to buy and more transparent, and then the second thing was just to make put some joy into being an energy customer, because the market was really struggling at that time, and there were lots of fines, and customers were really not getting a good deal at all. So Octopus Energy grew. It's grown to about 1.5 million customers in the United Kingdom, and on the back of the success of the technology platform that we've built, we're now also selling that platform, which we called Kraken, to other energy suppliers. So suppliers in the UK that use Kraken are Good Energy and E.ON. We have a company in Germany called 400. And then we've just had an investment from Origin Energy from Australia that's made Octopus the UK's first clean tech unicorn, which is really exciting. So 300 million. For 20% of the business, we're now worth just over £1 billion, which is really exciting. But the core of that is we're trying to get more people to use green energy and use it in a smarter way. This isn't just about backing energy with regos to kind of greenwash it to make it green. We create tariffs that are designed around real-time green energy on the network and try and shift people's behavior so they consume more of that green energy. So we have some cool tariffs at home called Agile and Go. And Go gives you cheap energy overnight, 5p, somewhere between 4.5 and 5.5p, depending on where you live and how many hours you want. And then we have Agile, which is literally a tariff that follows the energy market all day. And there's 48 different prices in a day. And when there's tons of sun and tons of wind, those prices go negative, and we pay people to charge their electric vehicles.
I was going to say, isn't there, just recently they've actually done that, and they pay people to use electric.
Yeah, and it's amazing. During COVID, you've got to remember the businesses have shut down, so we're not consuming as a country more, but in our homes we're consuming way more. But actually, as a country, we're not. So when there's lots of sun on the network, we've seen 4 or 5 events over COVID lockdown when prices have gone negative. And we've just done a trial, which we called the Big Switch On, a couple of weekends ago, where we gave customers who weren't on Agile and who weren't on Go the opportunity to test that kind of behavior change. So we gave them free energy in the morning and free energy in the evening, so they could do things like their washing, and they could run their tumble dryers and maybe run the Hoover around when they're being paid to do so, and charge electric vehicles.
Why do you do that? What was the reason behind doing that?
Well, so the paradox is, when there's loads of energy on the network, you have to turn off generation. So if you're a grid mix, which is primarily
the turbines.
Yeah, absolutely. So coal and gas, etc. But wind and solar, you have to use it when it's there. And if you don't use it, you have to pay to turn it off. And now they get paid what's called a ROC, a Renewable Obligation Certificate, which is worth £35 per megawatt hour. And every megawatt hour that a wind turbine generates, they get 2 ROCs. So the National Grid have to pay £70 per megawatt hour, which is about 7 pence per kilowatt hour, to switch off wind turbines. And it makes far more sense to pay customers 2, 3, 4, 5p per kilowatt hour at those times, in order to consume more energy, then switch off what is a completely green, clean resource and start relying more heavily on gas and coal.
So, Rob, do you think that... sorry, Rick.
I was just going to say, why do other companies not do that? Why are you the ones doing that?
They just don't have the technology platforms that enable them to do that. So Kraken is a brand new bit of technology. Most of the other UK energy suppliers and globally are running systems and technology platforms that are 10, 20 years old.
Is there a kind of future thing then? So we get challenged a lot on the vehicles that we use and the end of life of the vehicle, but they've still got a battery storage facility inside the vehicle that can be upcycled, if you like. So do you think we'll see sort of technologies move to store excess energy in batteries?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, we work on we've got a battery installed at the Emirates Stadium. We're affiliated with Arsenal Football Club, and we've got a battery there that we're doing some trials with. And secondly, the coolest thing is we have a project in Octopus Electric Vehicles called Powerloop, where we're actually using Nissan Leaf batteries to store energy, and then we're putting that energy back into the grid at peak times. So we're charging the cars up overnight when it's cheap. the individual drives the car for the day and gets home, and there'll always be residual power in that battery when you get home. And then we discharge that power over the 4 to 7 period to cover, cooking dinner and getting the kids ready for bed and all that kind of stuff. And then at off peak, overnight, we then recharge that vehicle with green, clean energy.
Is it just for Nissan Leafs? Can Teslas do it as well?
No, right now, V2G technology is primarily within Nissan Leaf, and there's no other vehicle that can do it because they have the CHAdeMO connection. However, all of the other electric
for those.
The cable you plug into your vehicle, there are a number of types of cable that you plug into your vehicle. There is a Type 2 connector, which is the low speed, fast charging connector for pretty much all vehicles. And then on your your rapid charging, there are 2 types of connector. There's the CCS, which is a Type 2 with 2 DC connectors in it. And then there is a CHAdeMO connector, which is essentially Nissan's connector, which looks slightly different, and it's the standard rapid DC charging technology in Japan. And so Nissan have that, and they've enabled and they've set up V2G charging vehicle to grid and back again across the CHAdeMO, and everybody else is catching up. So it's just not available in CCS connection just yet. Yeah. But it's on its way, very close.
The technology is brilliant. It sounds amazing, because if you think of the old, not the old, but the current way, still people, they go to the fueling station, they pump in petrol into their car, it sits there overnight, it's doing nothing, it's not earning them any money. EVs are, earning them money, they're lowering their costs, they're brilliant, they're the future, and so many more people need to know this.
Absolutely.
And it's to convert as many people as possible to EVs. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and I think the technology is fascinating. So the range of things that we can do with an electric vehicle is far greater than what we could do with any internal combustion engine. And being able to digitally share and unlock vehicles, so you can share them with your neighbours on sharing platforms. You can use them as an energy asset in your home. You can be paid to go to a rapid charger and consume green energy potentially in the near future. When the sun is out, and support the grid, and all of those things it's about sweating that asset that you have, because gone are the days where we're the population of the United Kingdom and the world, you've got this asset and it's just sitting there doing nothing. You should be sweating that asset and making the most out of the investment that you've made.
Absolutely, it's brilliant. I love it. It's great.
Now, one of the other big issues that we face when charging an electric car, and other people that adopt electric cars and start to worry about where they're going to charge, is the fact that different charge points sometimes require different charge cards or payment schemes. And a lot of people end up having lots of different cards. A bit like, when you go to Starbucks or Costa and you get that little card that gets you a free coffee once you've bought 48, then, and it's similar to that in the EV charging world. But tell us a little bit about electric juice.
Okay, so electric juice is actually it's becoming its own entity within Octopus Energy for Business. And so electric juice started out as a series of tariffs, energy tariffs, green energy tariffs, to power the charge point operators in the United Kingdom. So we designed energy tariffs that helped them support their business models, essentially. And that now powers about just over one third of the United Kingdom's charge point operators. And on the back of that, we said, well, we've got these EV tariffs. So we talked about Agile and Go earlier, and we have a disproportionate amount of EV drivers on our energy tariffs because they are so cheap and so innovative. And so we said, well, why don't we, collaborate? Why don't we create something simpler in the market and then drive our customers to those locations? So what we've done is we've designed an app and an RFID card. So an app and RFID card is the total. And then you take that with you. So you only need one of each. And that opens up the roaming network for you as a driver. And then the second challenge there is not only at the end of the month, you've then got all of these cards in your wallet and all of these apps on your phone. How do you then figure out how much it actually costs you to drive your vehicle? So what we then do is take all of those charges and the cost of those charges, and we simplify them onto one bill. And you can either have a single bill just for charging if you're not an Octopus Energy customer at home, or we could put all of those charges onto your home energy bill. And then the next stage will be that we can then give a fleet manager who runs a fleet of 100 or 150 vehicles, all of that transparency about really how much it's costing to run a fleet of vehicles, in order to just prove to the FDs that now's the time to be making this switch. Here's all the evidence. We can see that its total cost of ownership of these vehicles is far lower than running internal combustion engines. And not only that, you get all these great benefits from lower carbon emissions and zero tailpipe emissions.
I mean, I can see like awesome benefits for Go Zero using that technology, not only with our ride fleet, which we're going to have so many cars signing up to our platform over the next 10 years, but our customers as well, being able to give them access to a platform like that. And that would be great, especially as we looked ourselves to start to think about charge point operator and installing Go Zero charging across the UK. We always want to be true to our mission and ethos is sustainable, renewable energy is what we put in our cars and nothing else. So I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, lads, before we move on to talk about the salary sacrifice scheme, which saves loads of money for people that want to get into electric cars, what's everybody drinking at the moment? Because it is the happy hour. I've gone Italian, beer Moretti.
Nice. I have gone with Brewdog because I followed James, captain at Brewdog, on LinkedIn, and he posted this week on his LinkedIn profile the brewery and the supply chain and delivery within 24 months, I think it was, all sustainable. So I was like, great, that's a company I want to support. And I've got to say, this Lost Lager is brilliant.
Yeah,
we need that on our marketplace.
And it's from Newcastle, aren't they? Are they based in Newcastle?
I think they're based in Dundee, Scotland.
Are they?
North.
I think we had a November wrap party when I used to work for November and grow ridiculous mustaches. We had a wrap party at the Brewdog pub.
They're everywhere.
Awesome night out. Well, you've got what has Right Said Fred drinking down at the bottom here?
Drinking the same thing.
Oh, go on, hold on. Oh, look at that.
Brothers together.
I'm drinking Stella because I ran out of St Austell's proper job yesterday and I forgot to restock the fridge.
I just really like Stella.
Fair enough. All right, moving swiftly on. Salary sacrifice is an amazing scheme. Rob, what's it all about for the uneducated?
So HMRC are trying lots of ways to encourage people to get into electric vehicles, and that includes tax relief, free parking, exclusion from ultra-low emission zones and congestion charges. Now potentially £6,000 if you scrap your car. And then the most kind of unrecognised scheme is 0% what we call benefit in kind tax when you take a company vehicle that is 100% electric. And on top of that, they allow you to pay from, if it's your car, pay from your gross salary, the cost of the vehicle. Now, what that means is if you take the gross cost of the car and you pay out of your gross salary, you save on national insurance and income tax on that payment. So if you're a higher taxpayer, paying for, let's talk about Model 3 performance is somewhere between £650 and £800 a month, with all of your insurance, all of your road tax, all of the tyre maintenance, everything that you need for that vehicle, for you and a partner, all included, and then you subtract your national insurance and your income tax from that. So it drops the cost of the car by 40%. So you then price 40% if you're a higher taxpayer, 20% if you're not. And which is absolutely massive. And then when combined with your fuel savings, like running a Tesla Model 3 Performance is exactly the same per month if you're driving 10,000 miles a year as like owning a Golf. It's nuts, the amount of money that you can save.
That's amazing.
It's great. I mean, Tesla with their Model 3, the price point now on that, it's actually, I think, just lowered to 37,000, their base model now. So they're inching very much closer to their £35,000 mark. And it won't be long before, battery prices start to fall as well, and we start to see those cars getting even more affordable down into the masses. So that's great.
Salary sacrifice and benefit in kind reductions down to zero. It's the company car of choice without a doubt, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think because of the range, right? So actually, if you're a driver for work and you need a company car and you do a lot of traveling around, actually at this point in time, taking a Tesla, there's no compromise because you've got the Tesla supercharging network. You've got a great car. It's got a range of anywhere between 250 and 317 miles, depending on how you drive it. And and if you get the long range, you're up at 370. And now the announcement this week, Model S with 400 miles. Now we've got to bear in mind, right, that the average person in the UK drives less than 40 miles a day, and the average vehicle does 250 miles. So actually you could do half a week's worth of driving without ever having to charge your vehicle, and then recharging it up overnight while you sleep, so it's ready to go the next morning. There is no compromise there anyway, but it's those drivers that are doing lots of miles for work that will probably need the longer ranges in those vehicles.
I think you touched on a really good point there, because so many people don't know actually that while you sleep, your car charges. And, with yourself through Octopus, somehow you're going to get paid for it as well, which is even better. And that is one of the key things that need to come across about electric vehicles. It's just every day you wake up, you've got a full tank, no more pumping in the diesel or petrol in the vehicle. And, I've been driving on Teslas for 5 years now, almost 5.5 years, and I love them. Couldn't go back to a diesel or petrol car, not at all. So,
and Rob, your Model 3, we had a little spin in that. How are you liking it?
Absolutely love it. And in fact, I'll call it out. I hadn't driven an electric vehicle before I joined Octopus EV a year and a bit ago, and just the passion in that team, and everyone was going, you need to get yourself an electric car and get rid of it. So within a couple of months, and they launched the salary sacrifice scheme, and I was like, well, what am I going to get? And obviously, being a little bit of a petrol head, I was like, well, I want something that's going to be exciting to drive. And the Tesla Model 3 just blows every other car I've driven out of the water. And it's not the fastest electric vehicle on the road, but the technology inside it is just mad. It's just a great car.
Motor as well, and all the whistles. So you got the full spec, haven't you?
Yeah. So it's a Model 3 dual motor performance. Yeah. So it does 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. It's got the big alloys in it and all that kind of boy racer paraphernalia. But it's also, it's designed to, it's the track version of the car. So they've just released this track mode 2, and you can play with where you want the power in the rear wheels or in the front wheels, and you can preset it for drifting or preset it for track racing. And it's a real toy. It's a fun car. Like, they've really thought about the experience that you have when you drive it. And it's just a brilliant bit of machinery.
Yeah. Have you converted all your friends that got in it then thinking, don't know whether I can do electric, and then you just give them a little blast and they're converted?
Yeah, I've got a really good friend, Mike, who works, he's a brakes engineer for TfL. And he's an absolute petrol head. He's got a TVR, and I took him out and he was like, it's just shocking that you get that amount of power with absolutely no noise. He was just blown away by it.
Well,
right.
As I think we've covered off the main points of what we were looking to do today, and some. But it does bring me neatly on to one of my highlights of the week, which was my car got its first tattoo this week, and it's a beauty. Check this out. I don't know if it'll be back to front.
Branding looks awesome.
Great, Rick. It really comes red.
Yeah. Who's that really handsome bloke in the background?
It's a really nice white car.
It's a really nice.
He looks far too sexy for his shirt, to be honest.
Now, you can have a little nice Go Zero logo on that, and just sign up for our platform. Any extra hours driving, we're there. So
yeah, I've only just got the Octopus electric vehicles logo off the side of my car.
That's a really cool car, actually.
David, we definitely need to look at the Porsche Taycan, though. By the way, we had a drive of the 100% fully electric Porsche Taycan Turbo S on Monday with Natalie Pinkham and Kirsty Gallagher, who were testing out electric cars, and they were blown away by it. But I could not believe how quick that car was. The handling, it's just taken electric cars to a whole new level. Absolutely superb.
That's the challenger for Tesla, isn't it? They're the real challenger at the top end. It's amazing rethink of how the VW group and Porsche completely, deliver the electric vehicle experience to the masses.
But boot space wise, it doesn't come anywhere near the Tesla Model S. So sorry, Porsche. Yours is quicker, but I can get more prams in mine. Yes.
Well, I think, Rob, again, thanks for your time. And, what you've talked about today with the electric juice card, what Octopus can provide, I think, hooking up with you guys and looking how we can move forward with perhaps being providers for our charge network, that'd be awesome. So, wicked.
Yeah, brilliant. I think my son agrees as well. So there you go.
Yeah. Good man, Josh. Well, cheers, lads. Have a good weekend.
Everyone.
Good weekend.
Ching, 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 ching. Don't drink and drive. Go zero.